On this episode of TQA Weekly, learn everything you need to learn about computer fans, their specifications, and how to install them correctly. My name is D. Smith, this is TQA Weekly. If ever you have any questions, comments, suggestions, and or PC horror stories, you can always email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and either leave a comment towards this episode or use the contact form. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, blip.tv, or anywhere else I post to every single week, you can always leave a comment down below. Today's topic is all about computer fans, their specifications, how they work, what you need to know about them before purchasing your computer box or your fans, and I will help you out with all the details you need to know about cooling your box. And of course, we're going to be using a few different questions that will help you out better understand this topic. So first, how do we calculate the correct size of fan required? So if you just bought a computer box, it is on the outside and you don't actually need to calculate everything. It's already indicated for you, and of course, at this point, all you need to do is go to a computer store and buy your fans that you want or order them online. However, if you don't have this information, fans come in 80, 92, 120, 140, 200, and 230 millimeter sizes. The most common are 80 and 120, so it is pretty hard to go wrong. But if you wanted to measure it, the most common fan, 80 millimeter, is 72 millimeters apart on center, and a 120 millimeter fan is 105 millimeter apart on center. And the rest of the information is available in the sources of this episode at tqaweekly.com/SE4EP29. Should I use static pressure fans? Unless you're using liquid cooling or a very tight radiator, you are not required. The difference between a static and non-static pressure fan is just how far the blades actually come to the edge of where they spin, and the fact that a static pressure fan is basically guaranteed to spin. But besides that, it is not required unless you're using liquid cooling. What is CFM and how do I calculate it? CFM stands for cubic feet per minute. It's the amount of air that fan can push every single minute into your computer box. It's calculated by the fan diameter squared times air pressure squared over 100 times 28.51875. By the way, did you know it's actually on the box, so we don't actually have to calculate that? It's already calculated for you. For those who are interested in this, negative, positive, or neutral pressure builds. Personally, negative pressure builds I find idiotic. Basically because you're asking for dust to be inserted into your computer through every nook and cranny that is not protected by some sort of dust shield. So, in this case, all the fans are pointed outside, basically sucking air from the inside of the box, where there's none, and blowing everything out. While it looks cool, it is not actually useful. Then you have positive, where the box has a higher atmospheric pressure than the actual room it's in. In this case, it's no good because none of the hot air is actually leaving the box. It's all being pushed in. Not good. The only place the air is going to go through is now your power supply. The more heat we add to that, the more trouble we can have in the future. So a neutral pressure build is actually the best way to go. So following the way that the computer box was meant to be designed and have the airflow go through it, which I'll get to in a minute. What size should the fans be? So let's drop the joke about no bigger than a hole in the box. Smaller fans are good for workstation type stuff. The rest of the stuff, gaming, mining, video editing, anything that requires high intensity processor loads, or people who just want a computer that is quieter, bigger is better. The bigger the fan, the lower the RPM, the higher the CFM as a result of the size of the blades, and the quieter it's going to be. So, unless this is a workstation for a business place, bigger is in fact better because it is in fact quieter, more efficient, and has a better airflow. If you have a computer box and you have the fans, in which direction should you put the airflow? Well, it should actually go from the front to the back. There are people that go from the back to the front, but if we're going to be ignoring science altogether, it's not actually efficient in this way. Hot air rises. And most intakes on computer boxes are down at the bottom, and most exhausts are at the top. So if we consider this, the side fan and the front fan should be intakes, and the rear fan and the top fans, if you have any, should be the exhaust of your computer. In this way, we also know that if you had the option for your power supply to be on the bottom of the box, your intake should be coming off the bottom, if at all possible, to continue respecting that rule. This allows for better thermal transfer of air while requiring less force from the computer to exhaust the hot air in the first place. And for those wondering, in which direction is the intake of a computer fan? Because this is going to be important as you're building up your computer. The open end is the intake of the fan. Don't believe me? Look for the actual arrows or triangles on your computer fan. One will indicate the direction of airflow, while the other arrow will actually indicate the direction of the spin. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or stories for this and other episodes of TQA Weekly, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and leave a comment to this specific episode or use the contact form. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this show and share it with your friends. Have a great day, and goodbye.